So just on that, I guess, you know, the question the thing that always pops up is when you're talking to Ma and Pa out there or Joe Blow out on the street, they go, oh, well, they're both as bad as each other. You know, it doesn't really matter which one you get. And to a larger extent, I sort of agree that the difference between the two major parties has never been smaller
Yes.
that I can remember. But I think the other thing is that our system of voting, the preferential voting system, actually gives the voters a lot of power to actually tell both of these parties that we're not happy with what you're doing, and we're going to preference our votes to other people. And should those other people not get across the line, you can still then go with the major party that, you know, you're sort of least afraid of, for the lack of a better term. And so the preferential voting system, I think, is a wonderful thing.
It's a very democratic thing, and it's also a very unusual thing because there's not many democracies in the world that have it. But Australians have had it since the 1920s. Now, what it means is, I'll explain how it sort of works abstractly, and then I'll sort of just drill down on a little example. But the bottom line is this: let's say you are cranky with the Liberal Party or the National Party. You think that they have moved too far to the left and they're not friendly enough towards business and free enterprise. But you really, really, really do not want to vote for the Labor Party because you think that they will be worse. And I know a lot of people in that category. I'm probably in that category. So, but what we do is you vote one for the Liberal Democrat candidate in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. And then you can put, well, we are recommending you then put to the United Australia Party, which is Clive Palmer and Craig Kelly's party. We haven't worked out our other preferences, but I imagine Pauline Hanson's party will be towards the top as well. And there's some other freedom-friendly parties out there. Okay, and so we want to put all of those first, but you can put them first. But then the most critical thing on your ballot paper is who out of the Liberal and Labor you put last. Okay, yeah. Now, some people think, oh well, if I put the Liberal Democrats first, by the time it gets down to the Liberals and I vote for them ahead of Labor, maybe my vote has been diminished or diluted in some way. That is not true. No. Your vote's still worth 100%. So I'll give you a little example. Let's say there's a federal electorate. Let's call it the seat of Howard. There's no seat named after John Howard yet, but there will be in the next 20 years. So let's say there's the seat of Howard. There's let's say the Liberal candidate. Let's say the Liberal candidate gets 40% of the vote. Now let's say the Labor candidate gets 40% of the vote. Let's say the Liberal candidate gets 31% of the vote. And let's say the Liberal Democrat candidate gets 19% of the vote. Okay. Now, in most democracies, including the United States and the United Kingdom, that Labor candidate who got 40% has won the election, even though 60% didn't vote for them. Okay. And this is why in the US, there is just two parties. There is the Democrat and there is the Republican Party. Okay. I mean, there are some other little parties who get absolutely no votes, you know, way less than 1%. They've got a Green Party in America. And
they do dilute the vote.
It is a wasted vote.
Yes.
100% wasted vote. If you vote for the Libertarian Party in America or you vote for the Green Party in America, yeah, your vote's not going to be counted. Okay, but in Australia, going back to our seat of Howard, we've got Labor on 40, we've got the Liberal Party on 31, we've got the Liberal Democrat on 19. Now, let's say that you are one of the 19%. You wanted to send a message of encouragement for the Liberal Democrats. You hope that they would win, okay? And you want to also say, sending a message to the government, hey, I like these freedom parties more than I like you. Okay, but then the people that voted 19% for the Liberal Democrats, thank you very much, because they have come third and nobody has got over 50% of the vote, they're going to then get the ballot papers of those people, that 19% that voted for the Liberal Democrat, and they're going to say, okay, all these people that voted for the Liberal Democrat, who did they preference number two? They'll go through every single vote. Now, I would imagine in this case, 90% of people who vote for Liberal Democrats are going to say, okay, if the Liberal Democrats don't win, if they don't get over 50%, I would like my vote then to go to the Liberal Party. Now, they might have gone United Australia Party or Pauline Hanson, but in this case, we've only got 3 votes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then 90% will go to the Liberal Party, and that means that we then have a situation where well, then there will be what's called the two-party preferred result, whereas we eliminate who's come last, and then we see whether Labor or Liberal will get over 50%. So voting for the Liberal Democrats in the Senate or in the House of Representatives does two very good things. Firstly, it sends a message of encouragement and identification with Australia's best political party. And sorry, that's what we are. You know, we're what the Liberal Party used to stand for in the 1980s, what Margaret Thatcher used to stand for, what all the Ronald Reagan used to stand for, which is small government and big citizens. So by voting for us, you're encouraging us, and hopefully our vote will grow and grow at every election. But you're also not wasting your vote, because you might say, I really don't want a Labor government. I'm going to put Labor last. Maybe you want to put the Greens last. Put Labor second last, put the Liberals third last. Your vote's going to be a vote for the Liberal Party.
Yeah, should have get that far.